What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Cocteau Twins as we continue through the 1986 album Victorialand. Thank you as always to Mr. Solo and to all the folks following along. And the next tune is Feet Like Fins, and I appreciate the hyphen between feet and like, as it is a compound modifier here of fins. As an editor and a grammarian, I do feel like this is an important point. Nevertheless, okay, so feet like fins, it suggests some biological appendage, the end of some limb that is somewhere between feet as we know them as humans and in some other species, mammalian especially, and fins, aquatic animals' appendage organ, which allows them to traverse a very different type of environment. And inevitably and stupidly, I'm thinking of the 90s movie Waterworld starring Kevin Costner. Nevertheless, I do wonder whether this is not necessarily a full story or even a full description of these feet-like fins, but the idea of an entity which is a bit between worlds, a bit fish out of water literally, or a very aquatic, savvy, or comfortable animal that otherwise would live on land. So yeah, it sounds like we're dealing in the gray area between two more discrete sides of a spectrum, and in that regard, I do wonder if this is actually a reference to a biological organism in practice that has an appendage which is not easily classifiable in one side or the other. As I said, I don't expect to necessarily get any answers here, but no doubt the music will be evocative or in some way indicative of the concept in the title. Let's give it a listen and see. This is Cocteau Twins. The track is Feet Like Fins, and it's from their 1986 album Victorialand, which I guess does now remind me that this is built around Antarctica, and perhaps it is related to penguins or to other creatures which have feet like fins. Another very beautiful tune from them. Indeed, I don't think, at least I heard any clear English lyrics that would articulate the specific meaning of the title, but I will say, like, okay, at the beginning, excuse me, the melodic and rhythmic stroke of the track really had this slow, languid, as if, just lightly stroking through the sea or the ocean. And then as the tune went along, it did eventually flourish and it got a bit busier, a bit more pacey, or at the very least more rhythmic and percussion driven. And that felt like maybe swimming a little bit faster. And perhaps it's because right before the song started, I reminded myself of the framing of the entire album and the way a lot of their songs have been titled after living creatures, be they butterflies or moths or other members of the animal kingdom. I was thinking as I was hearing this, it's like, man, you could put on one of their albums if you were to take a nature tour or to watch like a nature documentary with no actual voiceover narration. It would be as fitting a soundtrack to the natural wonders and beauty of planet Earth as any other music I can conceive of. And in that regard, I will say the scene came to me here, even if I actually don't know the scene I was seeing is anything related to what is conceived by the Cocteau Twins for this song. But yeah, it really did make me think of creatures that are perhaps comfortable on both land and in the sea, but sort of swimming in the shallows adjacent to some ice flow or indeed some glacier or tundra. So yeah, it felt very much of the piece as I've kind of framed it in my brain. Nevertheless, I enjoy Elizabeth's vocals as always. I felt like cyclical here, which again, that is quite common in their work, but kind of on the higher end and not. It felt less dreamy than some of their tunes. It felt like more rich and like in the moment and less foggy or less like quasi-psychedelic and dreamy. So maybe that's just me, but yeah, definitely I got a sense of a very rich environment and perhaps a tranquil scene of penguins or some other type of animal. So yeah, this is mostly a conceptual interpretation because again, I didn't catch lyrics. It felt more like melodic or like non-verbal singing. Maybe there were some actual words. If there were, I would say probably more in the back half of the tune. But yeah, I do enjoy the like very strummy, like rapid fire strummy type of sound of the melody. And as with a lot of their tunes, I wonder, the exact arrangement here. Nevertheless, more beautiful music from the Cocteau Twins. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time. Peace.